For the past few years, the camera industry has basically been a two-horse race between Sony and Canon, who have completely dominated the market, setting the standard for mirrorless cameras for hybrid creators, filmmakers, photographers, and pros alike. But now something interesting has happened. Panasonic has just thrown a serious punch that could shake up the entire camera space. Their brand new camera, the Lumix S1 Mark II, might just be the most complete hybrid mirrorless camera we've seen this year, and it's a complete masterpiece. It's got premium build quality, loads of pro level features, and one of the most aggressive price points in its class. This camera could be the endgame camera that most creators and filmmakers have been waiting years to get hold of. So let's break down what makes the S1 Mark II so special and why it's a direct challenge to Sony and Canon's dominance. Sony has been leading the camera space for the last few years with unmatched autofocus, a wide variety of cameras, hybrid video performance, and a stacked lens ecosystem. They keep releasing camera after camera, trying to make as many combinations as possible to suit everyone. But the issue that is currently have with Sony is that there isn't one camera that has everything unless you want to pay upwards of £6,000. Now we are still waiting for the A7 IV, which could be the dream camera we've all been waiting for. But given their last few releases, I'm not holding out too much hope. Now Canon have also been very strong with their R5 and R6 lineup, giving creators amazing image quality and outstanding colour science, and they also have a wide variety of decent lenses to choose from. Both brands have built deep trust with filmmakers, photographers, working professionals, vloggers, YouTubers, and content creators. And Lumix, until now, well, they've just been a solid third option sitting in the background. They have great video quality and decent photo specs, but not quite the complete package, always missing something. But now that has completely changed. The new Lumix S1 Mark II isn't just a new release that will be lost somewhere in the Sonyverse of cameras and lenses. It's Panasonic saying, "We are coming for the throne. We want to be the best." This is a full-frame camera designed to check every box for everyone's needs. A true unicorn camera. It has the perfect blend of specs, premium features, premium build quality, more shooting modes than you know what to do with, phase detect autofocus, and a very, very competitive price. Everything Sony and Canon are currently missing. And to top it all off, Lumix are expanding their premium lenses at an alarming rate. So let's go over the specs of this camera and you can decide whether or not you agree with me. So the S1 Mark II features a 24.2 megapixel full frame BSI sensor capable of shooting stunning high quality photos. It has phase detect autofocus system, which is very fast, sharp and reliable when sticky, 7.5 stops of IBIS, dual card slots, which is a CF Express Type B slot and an SD card slot, decent battery life, meaning you'll get around 400 plus shots, which is very efficient. And the body is made of a magnesium alloy, which is fully weather sealed, and it has a built-in fan to prevent overheating, not to mention the premium build quality. It has a 5.76 million dot OLED viewfinder, and for ports you've got a full-size HDMI port, a USB-C with power delivery, a microphone port, and a headphone jack. Now for colour, you've got V-Log, V-Gamut, 14 plus stops of dynamic range, and for the price, it's around £2,899 for the body only, or £3,599 for the camera and Lumix's 24-105 f4 lens. Now that might sound like video spec and photo spec overload, but just take it all in and just look up what sort of specs you get for this camera and you will see exactly what I mean about how good it is. Now let's talk about all of the wide variety of video shooting modes you get with this camera, which is honestly where this camera really shines. So you can shoot 6K up to 60 frames per second in 10-bit color. You can also shoot 6K open gate up to 30 frames per second, 5.8K anamorphic at 30 frames per second, and 4K all the way up to 120 frames per second in 10-bit color to get you that extra smooth slow motion. You can also shoot Apple ProRes internal with a CF Express Type B card shooting, and if you're shooting externally via HDMI, you can record 5.9K ProRes RAW and 4K ProRes RAW. Now it also has real-time LUT support, timecode in and out, waveform and vector scope, shutter angle, real-time LUT preview, and an unlimited recording time, making it a complete package for video creators and professional filmmakers. Now let's see how it stacks up against the biggest hitters from Sony and Canon. The Sony FX3, first of all, the video king. Designed for video but can still shoot 12 megapixel photos if you just want to take photos for social media and you're not using it for client work. It's a low light powerhouse with superior performance used in big budget movies like The Creator. It has a compact cinema ready design. It has great autofocus, but the downside is this is 4 years old, so it is lacking Sony's latest features and autofocus chip, and it's still nearly £3,800. Yes, it has a built-in fan, yes, it has a compact design, and yes, it's still one of the best video cameras on the market, but considering its age and the things it's missing, the Lumix S1 Mark II might be a better option for you, considering the S1 Mark II has a built-in fan and has most, if not all, and more video options than the FX3 has. Now let's look at the Canon R6 Mark II. This has a 24 megapixel sensor, can record up to 4K 60 and 6K up to 60 frames per second if you're recording externally. Now this is £1,000 cheaper than the Lumix. It's still strong, but the Lumix S1 Mark II wins in features and shooting modes alone, even though the fact it is slightly more expensive. Now the Canon R5 Mark II is where things get interesting, because that has a 45 megapixel sensor, can shoot 30 frames per second in photo burst mode, 8K at 30 frames per second and 4K up to 120 frames per second. Now this is a very strong competitor, but given the fact this is around £4,500, making it nearly £2,000 more expensive than the S1 Mark II, makes it a difficult one to recommend given the fact that the S1 Mark II is very, very close. Now the Sony A1 Mark II, Sony's latest and greatest flagship, 8K 60 frames per second video, 4K 120 frames per second, a 60 megapixel stacked sensor that can take incredible photos, you can punch in to get great detail, but this is £6,000 and it's not in the same league as the S1 Mark II, making it out of reach for most creators. And honestly, I think the S1 Mark II just has a better range of features. Now let's talk about the Sony a7C II, which is where things get interesting. This is my brand new camera that I have just bought for filmmaking, photography and all of my YouTube videos. This has a 33 megapixel sensor, which is amazing for both photo and video, and it is still amazing in low light performance. Sony's latest and greatest AI autofocusing chip is in this. It has a compact yet premium build body and it shoots 4K up to 60 frames per second. Now the problem with this is that the 4K 60 comes with a 1.5 times crop. It also only has one SD card slot, no fan for internal cooling and a micro HDMI port. Now it is £1,000 cheaper than the S1 Mark II and you can solve the overheating issues by buying an external fan and battery setup and turning this into sort of a cine rig, and that does solve a lot of the issues and it is cheaper still than the S1 Mark II. And then you've got both options to have a little compact camera for a point and shoot, something that can fit in your pocket, but you can also have a cine rig without any overheating, so you've got both options there. But the issue with this is it doesn't do 4K 120, it doesn't have open gate 6K, and if I'm honest, if I wasn't so heavily involved in the Sony ecosystem with lenses and extras, I would probably have got the S1 Mark II because it is without a doubt worth the extra £1,000 or so you're going to pay to get this. Then we need to talk about the Sony a7 IV, which isn't out yet at the time of making this video, but is anticipated to be out August or September in 2025. Now this is rumoured to have a brand new sensor in the range of 38 to 42 megapixels. It will be able hopefully to record 6K and 4K up to 120 frames per second, whilst having Sony's latest and greatest features like the multi-axis flippy screen thing, the latest AI autofocusing chip, the best premium body build and all of that sort of thing, and it will probably be in the same price bracket as the S1 Mark II. So if it nails the features, it could be a big contender for the S1 Mark II, but this is a big if Sony make this camera. But this is an if, and a big if Sony make this camera to the specs that we all want and need, then Lumix are going to have some serious issues. But until then, the Lumix is still the best option for most. Now you could include the latest FX2 in this lineup because it costs around the same price as the Lumix and it's basically the exact same camera as the A7C II, but with dual SD card slots, a full-size HDMI port, a built-in fan, cinema features and a massive elephant's trunk of an EVF, but with no 6K open gate and 4K limited to 60 frames per second. that still comes with a big crop. I still don't know why anybody would choose the FX2 over the Lumix S1 Mark II unless you have 20 Sony lenses that you need in order for that. So let's talk about the lens ecosystem catching up. So one big criticism of Panasonic is their lens options. Sony without a doubt have the best range of lenses with their GM and G series, with a ton of third-party lenses to add on to that as well. But thanks to the L-mount alliance system, that is changing very, very fast. Panasonic are releasing a lot of new lenses, and Sigma have released a huge range of primes, compact zooms and cinema lenses to go with this camera. Now you have a growing library of native full-frame L-mount lenses, making this a serious alternative to Sony's E-mount or Canon's RF system. So let's talk about the final verdict. Is this the endgame camera for most? Now you've probably got a vibe from this video that I am saying this camera is the best thing since sliced bread, and it is amazing. It's not without its limitations, and it is not without issues, and it is not perfect. But after watching this video, you tell me in the comments below, do you think the Lumix S1 Mark II is the best camera Panasonic have ever made? Is it the best camera that's been released in the last few years? And is it a serious competitor to Canon or Sony? And have you got one, or are you trading in and switching to get one like I almost did? Now the S1 Mark II is not trying to be a beginner's tool. This is a camera for anyone who wants a one and done camera that is future proofed to shoot high quality video and photos, get reliable autofocus and staying under £3,000. It's bold, feature rich, and it's making the camera market interesting again in a market that was otherwise going a little bit stale and swinging too much towards one particular brand. So yeah, Lumix have essentially just declared war on Sony and Canon over who is going to be the biggest and most dominant camera brand. And this time, it's honestly a fight worth watching.